This is a continuous improvement movement reserved for the few with the grit to prove it. Everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Calvin Williams, and we got a hold of a report that was released just today from Forbes Business Council titled "The Lifelong Learner: Why Leaders Need to Upskill Too." So critical, as we often see cases where leaders want to invest in professional development for their teams and their workforce, but why don't they do the same for themselves, right? It's important for leaders to stay current as well, just like it is for their teams. A couple of quick stats on this. As part of the study, they cited Deloitte, said that organizations with a learning culture have 30 to 50% higher employee engagement and retention rates, right? How powerful is that? One more quick citation, then I'll introduce my co-founder here, my partner. LinkedIn's Workplace Learning Report cited that 92% of talent professionals say that soft skills are just as important as those hard technical skills. So, given those incredible facts, why don't leaders take a little more time to invest in their own professional development? So, I'm here with Maria Williams. We're with Improver University, and this is the Ticket to Freedom podcast. So, Maria, you had a chance to review the report as well. What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so sometimes leaders do not pursue further education for a long time. And they think, hey, I'm at the top, I don't have to do much at the moment. But really, it's very important that they do because they have to set the example and they have
Right.
to stay relevant. Besides, everything, the market, technology, everything is changing so fast. We need to keep up with all of those things.
That is a excellent point, and there's a line in the study that jumped out for me as well, and I made a note of it here. It says there's always room for improvement, right? We've all heard that adage before,
Always.
but it
Mhm.
says the value of upskilling is the same, if not more important for leaders as it is for everyone else in the organization, right? Because if you think
Mhm.
of any individual person that has the greatest impact on company culture, leading by example, to your point, it's the leader, right? What the leader
Mhm.
says, what the leader does, if everyone sees them investing in their own professional development, personal development, they're a lot more likely to do the same. So I don't think it can be understated why the leader sort of, being a role model, right? Leading by example and the gravity that has on the future, the future culture of the organization.
That's right. So they're setting the tone for the type of culture the organization is going to have. And besides, there is also a lot of nuances that everybody has to understand and learn and practice to be able to have a nice company culture. For example, things like generational divide and diversity. So those kind of things need constant training of the workforce. Let it be via workshops or online courses. Just make everybody aware of the dynamics within the workplace and also how things and are changing at a societal level around us.
One way to think about it is that the world is always changing, right?
Always
All of this,
changing.
all of the stakeholders involved in the business is a constantly evolving dynamic. From
Mhm.
customers are always changing, the workforce is always changing. The product should be changing, right, to stay in alignment with the customers' needs and their changing
Mhm.
needs, right? There's the government is always changing. The work environment, the local environment that the business operates in is always changing. So given that, leaders should always be changing too, right? They say the number one skill for survival of any business or any individual is the ability to adapt. So
Mhm.
for leaders that are adaptable, create an environment, a culture where the business is more adaptable and more likely to succeed and thrive, and
Right.
regardless of the circumstances.
So
There's one other thing.
Calvin,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
as a leader, let me put you on the spot right here because I know you're a lifelong learner. What are you learning about nowadays?
Well, many things. One, we got the Ticket to Freedom podcast. just traveling, seeing other cultures, seeing how the rest of the world works, um, adapting to the reality of other local environments has been a huge learning curve for me. Studying Spanish as well, Espanol, estoy practicando
Yeah,
mucho.
good.
That's another one that's big for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a lifelong Kaizen learner too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Kaizen almost all my career, but being a practitioner as well as a business leader and just someone who loves continuous improvement, I feel like there's always something more for me to learn. And even if I go back and restudy like some of the courses at Improver University, if I go back and take some of those courses, even though I've taken and seen a lot of that stuff, once or twice before, it's like a refresher. It's almost like seeing it again for the first time because I have new eyes, right?
Right.
So much of life has happened and so much has
Mm-hmm.
changed that I see the same material in a new way. And the other thing I was going to mention is that when you study and when you train and when you learn, right, that's the time. And if you're really engaged in what you're learning, that's the time when you have the most ideas for improvement. That's
Yeah.
when the cylinders are clicking and the ignition is firing on. Oh yeah, I should do that. Oh yeah, I should try that. I remember I saw that before, but I never tried it. But I see how much more relevant it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, going through the training, the professional development stuff, it really just turns on the engine of creativity for improvement as well. So,
Definitely.
uh, can be a huge cultural boost for innovation, not just for the workforce, but for the leader as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So what are you learning right now, Maria?
so I am learning lately about coaching for high performance. I'm loving that because even though I consider myself to have very good people skills, this is throwing me for a loop because I am learning to listen more, especially.
Good.
Listen
That's
more, listen for understanding, asking the right questions, and really understand that people is very capable in their own right, and you never have to tell them what to do. That is
yeah,
one of the key takeaways.
that's
Yeah.
great. That's a great one. Yeah,
So,
I think like there's a big need for leaders to learn better coaching skills. I think there's a huge gap. I mean, if you're a leader and you don't know what to study, first of all, pick up FIT, the simple science of achieving strategic goals. That should be number one on your reading list at all times.
mhm,
But just learning to be a better coach can
yeah.
transform the way you engage with your organization. And the powerful thing about coaching is that you're not just telling people what to do. You're asking them what's the right thing to do. You're getting them to think for themselves, and thinking and solving problems is a capability that transforms organizations in a way where the leader is no longer the bottleneck when there's a problem,
Mhm,
right?
right.
Develop that capability so that people can solve their own problems.
Mhm,
Then the challenge becomes let's just keep them motivated, let's keep them moving forward, and then let's keep them driving toward that next solution. So,
mhm, yeah. So, Calvin,
okay.
we have told the good people why it is important to update the skills. Now, let's discuss how you can go about this. So I think, well, first of all, like we were talking about even a little earlier, is identify areas of improvement. Kind
Yeah.
of identify those trends, so you can get ahead of the future a little bit. Because you know that when you are prepared for the future, so many things can go right. You attract the right kind of talent. People feel the company is going in the right direction. They feel their job is more secure because the company is moving with the times and things like that. Also, obviously, engage not only yourself but your workforce in targeted training programs. They come in all shapes and sizes. They can be, nowadays, you can find all kinds of fun things to engage the workforce in learning. For example, the Improver University.
Standards change. There's trends that are taking place in the market. And if you're a leader and you're not keeping up with that stuff, you are falling behind as a leader. That's
Mhm.
one problem. there's a bigger ripple effect problem, is that if you're falling behind and you're leading the ship, then guess what? Everybody who follows you is also falling behind. There's
It's
a
a
case.
responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility. There's a case study in my book that says that talks about a lady who worked for the same company for 20, 25 years, and the company had a great product and they had a lot of success from their product, but they really didn't keep up professionally with trends and standards across the industry. And as a result, this lady, the company went out of business, as you would expect, and this lady had the hardest time finding a new job, right? All the technological advancement that had taken place outside of those walls, and all the cultural things and all the work expectations and all those things that evolve, with time. She had just fallen so far behind the rest of the world that it was almost impossible for her to get back into the workforce. She was older, so not as easy to adapt to change as some younger folks are, or willing to adapt. So for her, in her mid 50s, late 50s at that time, it was just like a reality check on the danger of leaders not keeping up with the latest trends in the market. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate y'all joining us. It's been great. Again, I'm Calvin. I'm here with Maria from Improver University. Let's get better every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.
Just in time, not a second slow. From the top flow to the shop flow, come on. Everybody, let's go.